on. It's the final day of the D1 Arkema season, and there's an air of celebration around Olympique Lyonnais. The title already secured with that victory at Paris Saint-Germain last week, and now they have the opportunity to head out in style against Stade Reims. And it's Lyon wearing all white, attacking the goal away to our right in the first half, and Cayman quickly moves forward, looking for the run of Le Sommer into the penalty area, but it's cleared away. The former New Zealand captain Rebecca Smith is alongside us on Out of Football today, and I'm sure the players enjoy playing a match inside the major stadium, particularly on a day like today, but for Stade Reims it may take some getting used to.
Yeah, it's a beautiful stadium. I remember looking at it for the Women's World Cup back in 2019, and they just have such a great aura and presence, this Lyon squad, and also with their fans as well.
As an early shot finds its way into the back of the net, and Lyon are ahead straight away thanks to Jennifer Marajan. Well, they kicked off in such a relaxed style, and it was almost a lazy swing of the boot from the Hungarian international, but she picked out the corner.
Yeah, Marajan has just recently retired from the German international squad, and obviously holding up the jersey for Cascarino, who will be missing the Women's World Cup, very unfortunately, due to yet another ACL in the women's game. But what a player Marajan has been. I remember playing against her and with her in the Frauen-Bundesliga for many years, and this just looks so easy. The wonderful cross, and then just pops out, and that's what Marajan's so good at, that first touch. Her skill level, she's been, you know, talked about in the women's game and through history as being one of the most skilled players that we've ever seen, and there she is, just super easy, putting it into the back of the net.
Well, Melvin Mallard may be looking to apply the finishing touch, but it will go down as Marajan's goal. And a player who has spent time in the United States with OL Reign, but has always played here and always offered so much when she's been fit. And already Lyon have the lead. They beat Stade Reims 5-1 on the opening day of the season, and they're looking to finish off in similar style here. And of course they were very quick to pay tribute to Delphine Cascarino. We saw her very sadly lead the field in tears last week following the knee injury against Paris Saint-Germain, and it was confirmed later on that she would miss the World Cup. And for a player in her prime, that is such a shame.
It's such a shame, it really is. And I can't remember a time where we've been this close to a Women's World Cup with so many big name players out. And very unfortunately for France, who actually with the change of coach as well and manager, that everyone was sort of thinking this could be a team that could really challenge to get into that final spot to win this tournament. And Cascarino, clearly one of the top players for the French team, so a big loss for them as well as this Lyon team.
And the coach of Renard was watching last week in the Parc des Princes. It's already been confirmed this week that Marie-Antoinette Katoto won't be fit enough to play in the World Cup. Of course, she's been missing for the entire season, as there's a clash there between Mayong and Egarola, and in the end, play will continue. But Lyon here look in the mood to really enjoy themselves. Mallard, though, losing out on the edge of the penalty area to Doucouré. But Lyon quickly win it back, and the early cross is just beyond Le Sommer. And Stade Reims at the moment, figuratively, still in the dressing room here.
What a great start from Lyon. Even though you said, you know, we said at the beginning of the game that they can come out and they can actually enjoy, this is the quality that Lyon constantly shows. And with some of the changes in the starting lineup, some of these players will be looking to really prove something to the coach and wanting to become starting players on this squad. So there's still a lot to play for in this game today.
And here is Mallard playing a first game since early April, almost slipped in for Brune, but it's scrambled clear on this occasion. But Lyon enjoyed 10 successive wins to clinch the title, and they're looking for a second goal here in the early stages, but Pasquerot is able to clear, but it's quickly won back, and Cayman is forward on this near side. The cutback is blocked in the end, and predictably perhaps so much of the play has been around the Reims penalty area. Cayman. And the ball deflected off Dumonet, but good striker on the hand that it will be a free kick. Negarola, who was suspended for the win away to PSG after her red card in the cup final. Lyon have clinched another double this season, but there won't be a treble, of course, after that defeat to Chelsea in the Champions League. Amel Majri, who provided the assist for the winning goal last week, delivers the free kick, but it's beyond everybody in the end that it will go behind for a goal kick. And Sonia Van Pastor wasted little time in outlining her plans for next season. Of course, Lindsay Huron, who is not starting today, has extended her loan from Portland. Marijan and Le Sommer have been offered new terms, and Henry, Macario, Cayman, Brune and Holmgren are all leaving the club. Now Majri, and it's eventually scrambled away by Pasquerot, but the pressure continuing here. And she did say that there would be numerous incomings during the transfer window as well. Of course, Dumonet playing against them today is one of those players, as the ball forward almost picks out the run deep into the penalty area from Moroni, but in the end the flag was up for offside. And it's quite smart of Van Pastor to talk about the players who are leaving, because it just keeps everybody on their toes, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And it keeps the club in the spotlight as well. I think when players see that there are many leaving, there's always the question, you know, potentially of why and what's going on, but also I think a lot of players will be rubbing their hands together thinking, what a great opportunity that we have to actually come into one of the world's best teams, I should say. Cayman was a great player, has been a great player for this squad as well, fairly underrated there on the right side for Belgium. She was in the Arnold Clark Cup in early February, where they got to the final against England, and she was a major part of that squad, and how well they've done. And unfortunately they won't be at the World Cup, but yeah, some really great players in the squad.
And they performed well in the Euros as well last year in a very tough group. And there's a tough spot here for Barclay, but Reims almost get the ball away initially, but then it's clipped forward to Le Sommer. The angle's tight, but the cross is delivered, and the shot in the end from Mala, and it's blocked and it spins away, and it will go behind for a corner kick.
So great to see Le Sommer back in the mix, isn't it? And especially with the French team. But here we go, Cayman again with that lovely turn, and then just getting it wide into Le Sommer, who always gets the ball across, and just had enough to disturb that pass into the middle.
Well, she's 33, Eugenia Le Sommer, but Lyon are still keen to keep hold of her. The corner is deep, and there's a second goal, and it was so simple again for Lyon. And they have cut loose here, and Wendy Renard imperious inside the penalty area yet again.
I genuinely cannot tell you how many times in my career and post-career I have seen Wendy Renard stand almost exactly in that position near the back post, as if she's just chilling completely, and just nods her head on the ball into the goal. She's just such a remarkable player. One of, if not the best center back that's ever been, not just defensively, but with all the goals she scores, her offensive prowess as well. Just incredible. Could
be a long day for Kinga Semic, the Stade Reims goalkeeper. But she always has an aura around her, Wendy Renard, and it almost seems to be a force field for opposition defenders at set pieces.
You don't have to remind me of that night, Jill. She was the one I always had to mark, and it was miserable. She just made my life miserable on those days.
Well, this could become a pretty miserable day for Stade Reims. 2 goals down within 10 minutes. All the final games in the D1 Arcame are kicking off at this time. Elsewhere, Fleury Ligue gone by a goal to nil thanks to Léa Le Garec. Fleury are the outsiders in the race for the top 3. They need to win and realistically hope that Paris FC and Montpellier lose, and they are both facing sides who are in the mix for relegation, Dijon and Rodez today. And elsewhere on Atta Football, you can watch Paris Saint-Germain's final game, and they are away to the bottom club, Soyo, who are already preparing for life in the second tier. But Amandine Michael, the coach of Stade Reims, has seen her team barely cross the halfway line so far, and at the moment they're already 2 goals down. Here is Renard once again. Maroni. Nala looking to wriggle away into space. Le Sommer waits in the centre along with Brune, and in the end she's just held up. Playing without pressure. Lyon can be very dangerous opponents, and clearly there was pressure on both teams last week at the Parc des Princes. It was drama in the end, but it wasn't a particularly scintillating game in terms of cut and thrust. It was more of a chess match, but something very different here today. Came out. Nala rising, but it will go behind.
Yeah, I think the history of the Lyon versus PSG, PSG versus Lyon, who's going to win the title, who knocks who out of the Women's Champions League, is always very dramatic. But as you mentioned, it's the games themselves always seem to be a bit slow, a bit sort of more tactical, probably because their styles are so similar. But as you mentioned, Lyon in the dominating position this season over PSG.
Looking to move forward again here with Renard. Their biggest win of the season, 8 goals to nil against Dijon. It's maybe worth making that point at this stage, as Le Sommer was looking to fasten onto the long ball forward, but it's claimed by Semic, the Polish international signed from Nantes to replace the outgoing Emily Alvarado, the Mexican who was signed for Houston Dash in the NWSL. Dumont, first chance for her, and she goes for goal from the halfway line, spotting Holmgren on the edge of her penalty area, and it's wide in the end, but she is the sort of player who will always try something different.
I love that. I love this player. I love Dumont, the Haitian striker. She's only 19 years old, and already we saw in the qualifiers in New Zealand earlier in the year in February how she really led the team and scored that goal against Chile to get them into qualifying. This is a great chance for Lyon.
And it was Signe Brune this time with the diving header. Scored with a header last week, but this time it was too close to the goalkeeper, and we played less than 15 minutes here. They could be 4 up. That's the problem that Stade Reims will have to try and solve here. Of course, they're a team who will finish 6th in the table. They're 4 points behind Fleury and 8 points ahead of Bordeaux at the start of play, but their record against the teams above them in the table so far is no wins, 1 draw and 8 defeats. But here is an opportunity for Imran, and the cross in is claimed by Holmgren. At least something for the goalkeeper to do.
There was a great run by Oshani to start that, beat a couple of players in the middle and then get it out to Imran from the Nigerian international, only 18 years of age as well. So you see that there's a lot of talent in this squad in Stade de Reims. They're a very young squad. At 6th in the league, that's not a bad finishing place for them, but just need a little bit of time to get polished and have that experience that these Lyon players have.
Well, they returned to the top flight in 2019 after 30 years away. They were the original dominant side in French football back in the 1970s and 80s, but things changed, of course, and the club was eventually liquidated and then reformed in the regional leagues only 9 years ago. So they've come back to the top flight, and they've been consistent, if unspectacular, but they do have the habit of developing young players, and they clearly have an in Haitian football, and they've developed quite a few young players who we'll see playing for them at the World Cup. It was an opportunity for the Nigerian teenager Imran to move forward again, but this time it was overhit. And of course you played at the highest level, and for a team like Haiti playing in their first World Cup, to have players in a top European league, that's going to benefit them so much, isn't it? Absolutely.
Nowadays you can't really you can't compete in the big tournaments unless you are playing at some of the top in some of the top teams in the top leagues in the world. And we see some Cameroon players, Nigeria, another cross by Lyon yet again, peppering that box.
Here is the Sommer. Mallard on the end of it this time. Appeals for handball, but it's claimed by the goalkeeper.
Yeah, but it's great to see. It's great to see that these players, you know, especially the African players, getting more and more opportunities to come into the European leagues and play with and against some of the best players in the world. And they need that, because I remember when I was playing for New Zealand, right when we first started, and well, we don't need to talk about the year, do we, Nigel? But I was pretty much one of the only, if not the only, professional player at the time, and it was in the 2011 World Cup when we had in Germany, when we had more and more agents coming and looking to scout our players, and that was when we had a good handful of players move to Germany. So it was really, really important for the development of New Zealand at that time.
Here is Corbaz, and that's an excellent ball. Imran with the run into the penalty area, but just lost her footing at the crucial moment. But Rachel Corbaz, of course, one of two American sisters playing in the D1 Arkema. Her sister Daphne with Paris FC, both players who went through at Georgetown in the college system. And of course that is another route. It's a route that you took, playing for Duke, and so many players now from Europe choose to go via that route, don't they, and then return to Europe to play in leagues like the French.
Yeah, it's great for the American players, because I think so many of the American players playing in the US college system feel that they have to stay in the US to be able to be seen by the US women's national team. But there are so many opportunities to play abroad, and how great to be able to play with your sister in the same league, but different teams. Both obviously went to Georgetown, as you mentioned, so used to playing together as well.
There's another long-range effort fired in from Pearl Maroney this time, but it was over the top, and there is a Lyon player down. I think it's Dekure, their captain, another young player who is taking the armband, and she just seemed to slide in there and maybe catch a leg underneath her body, which is never good to see.
Yeah, hopefully it was a step on the top of the foot. Is what I'm hoping for, rather than a twisted ankle or a knee. Looks like she might have, I think it was Marjorie, might have come in and just put most of her weight onto her foot, which can never feel good. But yeah, it didn't look like any malice in that tackle. It's just one of those, both going for the ball. She's only 22 years old, this captain. I mean, it's a lot of pressure to be a captain of a squad in the top league in France.
There aren't too many players older than her in the team. Plenty of teenagers on the bench as well. Really, Rachel Corbaz at the age of 26 is one of the oldest players in the team. Kathleen Louis, another Haitian international, is on the bench today. She will have a major role to play in the World Cup, but Dumonet is one of the nominees for the Players Union Player of the Year in the French League. Kadi Diani won the League's award, but the past owner and the new owner watching on, and so far she'll have been impressed by what she's seeing with her new acquisition. And it's very interesting that we now have a big US club linking up with a big European club. Of course, we've had the relationship between Lyon and OL Reign in Seattle, but this looks to be taking things to another level. And if there's a trade of players between the two clubs on maybe a temporary basis, then it's going to help players, because as you will have discovered playing in Europe and elsewhere, you playing in those different leagues, experiencing different cultures will always benefit your football.
Absolutely, it's so good. And we saw, like you'd mentioned, Marajan, Les Sommers, goalkeeper from Lyon at that time, go over and play for OL Reign. And I remember that speaking to Les Sommers, she was saying that it was just so good playing in the American League, because coming from the French mindset, you know, they're so good at the tactics and the technique, but actually it's the mindset that always holds them back in these big tournaments. We always think, oh, France is going to do so well in the World Cup, and then they always get out in the semifinals. And then going to America and having that American mindset, you know, the championship mindset, she said she learned so much playing there, so it's been great.
Nasri over the free kick, and it was pinged into the wall by Marajan, and Pasquarot is the player who is down, but play continues, and in the end are only just unable to keep the loose ball in play, and it will be a goal kick. But Pasquarot really seemed to feel that as it clattered into her body, and we've already seen the power of Marajan's shooting, and there it was again.
I just saw it go into the pretty much that lowest rib, wasn't it? Just right where you're going to get the wind completely knocked out of you, and hopefully that's all it was, is just getting the wind knocked out, nothing broken, hopefully. It's a good stop, though. It was really important. Marajan's shots are always on target, so had she not been there, it was likely to go in.
Ata Football has launched their new platform, which gives fans free access to over 140 live and on-demand matches from top European leagues, an extensive player development library to help you learn from the world's best, exclusive highlights, interviews, behind-the-scenes content, and more. Come join the squad and become a member today. Visit atafootball.com and download the Ata Football app. And of course, there is news of a busy weekend across Europe and beyond. And the Women's Super League title in England has just been settled, and Chelsea have 4 successive titles now, beating Reading by 3-0 today to finish 2 points clear of Manchester United, who also won their game at Liverpool. In the end, Arsenal finished in the 3rd Champions League place, but only on goal difference. They were beaten at home by Aston Villa today, but Manchester City beat Everton 3-2, but they will finish 4th and won't have European football next season. And Reading, after a long spell in the English divisions, the top flight, they are relegated, and they will face an uncertain future. And of course, live on Ata Football, we'll have the conclusion of the Frauen Bundesliga coming up tomorrow, as Nala almost fastens on to a missed kick from Magdou Doucouré, and it's one back again. And those early goals from Marajan and Renat. Heavy rotation for Lyon today, but it's made very little difference. It's clipped high into the penalty area for Les Sommers, but she's unable to win the ball. And of course, tomorrow we'll be featuring the end of the Frauen Bundesliga season. Of course, you're a former Wolfsburg player, but unusually they face pressure because Bayern, it's in their hands against the bottom club. Absolutely.
It's been so interesting to see the shift in the Frauen Bundesliga in the last years, and the domination, or up and coming domination, of the Bayern Munich team. Wolfsburg obviously has more goals. They have a bigger goal difference. So if they do win the game and Bayern ties, they actually would go through and win the league on goal difference. But yeah, they've had a difficult season in the league with a few matches that they just couldn't put away, whereas the Bayern Munich team just has been a bit more consistent. So, and as you mentioned, you know, Potsdam has gone out of the league, and seeing Stade de Reims come up and be going out of the league but coming up, and seeing that we can invest, continue to invest and still do well. It's sad to see that Potsdam team go out of that Frauen Bundesliga now.
They were one of the dominant sides, and Rebecca also played for Frankfurt. their previous incarnation. Of course, we saw Eintracht Frankfurt hammer Wolfsburg 4-0 a couple of weeks ago, but a number of their major players have already made it clear they are moving on. Soka Nuskin has already signed for Chelsea in the WSL, and Lara Freigang could be heading to Lyon, and Lara Viersinger has had her contract cancelled and she'll be moving on as well. So the heart of the team, which has performed so well to, in all probability, finish in the Champions League places, will be broken up very quickly. But that's the money game in women's football. Here is Corboz, and that's an excellent ball forward. The flick back and then the shot from Dumonet was over the top, but it was worked really well there between Corboz and Uchene, but the flag may have been raised for offside.
This is just great to see. I mean, the confidence that Corboz has. Again, we're talking about that American spirit. Could be partly that, but it's good to see some flashes of some skill and some positivity with Stade de Reims here today. This is what they need. They need to, you know, if they can score a goal here and keep it at 2-1, this would be a great game for them to finish the season on. And what a great time to be able to play Lyon when they already sit comfortably with the title win, which will see them lift the trophy later and actually have a chance to score some goals and feel good about themselves at the end of the season.
Well, Reims have lost the 3 previous games away to Lyon in the D1 Arkema, conceding 11 and not scoring any, although it was a 2-2 draw at home in the quarterfinals of the Cup earlier this season, when they eventually lost on penalties, coming from behind twice, as there was a challenge there on Paul Moroni, and it will be a free kick. The leg was dangled by Magdou Doucouré.
I really like how Moroni has started this game. She's been one of the standout players for me so far, coming down that left side, and the combination of Moroni and Mallard has been really good. So looking forward to potentially watching that in the World Cup as well with France this summer/winter down under. Doucouré just a little bit slow in the tackle, causing that foul.
It will be a Winter World Cup, and it will feel like winter in some of the venues, but maybe not some of the other ones.
Most of New Zealand, unfortunately,
yes,
Nigel.
I wasn't going to say that, but
thank you.
Take your umbrella. Free kick played short by Marajan, but it's cleared away by Demahan. But it will come straight back. It's wide towards Marajan again, but the touch doesn't quite find Egarola, and Mayong can bring the ball clear. Uchene looking to release the pace on this near side from Imran, but now it's regathered by Le Sommer. Doesn't quite find Marjorie and gets a look from her, but it's behind for a goal kick.
It's a little heavy-footed there from Le Sommer, which is very abnormal for her. She normally is probably one of the best passing players, well, in the world, I would imagine.
She's 33 years of age now. Of course, she's spent time in the NWSL with OL Reign. It looks like she'll be staying at Lyon. They are discussing terms at the moment, but she's not featured as regularly in the first team, of course, but I'm sure they'll be very keen to have her experience around the training ground as well. And the question is, does she still want that sort of role, or maybe head somewhere else to get more regular first-team football? But it would be a wrench for her to leave a club she's starred with for so long. Kema, Doucouré with a good leap to head away, and then the shot is lifted from Moroni.
Yeah, you're right about Le Sommer, because when you think about this Olympique Lyon team, and 8-time Women's Champions League winner, 16th championship in the league, how many of those has she been not only a part of, but at the heart of this team? So you always think about at the end of your career, do you want to try something new, or do you want to finish out in the club that basically helped create as one of the powerhouses in the women's game? So it'll be really interesting to see what she does.
Marajan maybe could have gone for goal, but in the end she finds Mallard and she makes it 3-0. It's not taken Lyon long to quickly get back on the goal trail, and on her return to the team, Melvin Mallard with a another very simple finish at the end of a move which carved open Ross.
Just beautiful play from Lyon, and specifically Maroujan first flicks it off, gets it back, and then just a lovely little chip landing right on the head of Mallard, and that's an easy target for her. It's easy when she's coming through the ball, going forward, just to place it in the corner. But again, Maroujan and her skill level at this club, when she has the time, she's just unbelievable to watch. I think, you know, there's been a lot of critics with her, and she's had a lot of injuries and illnesses through her career, but when she has the time and space, she certainly is just a beauty to watch.
Elsewhere, still goalless between Soyo and PSG, but there are goals in other games. Fleury now lead Guingamp by 2-0. Marine Defeur with the second there, and Montpellier are a goal down at Dijon. Rochefort Bourguela with the opening goal there, and a win for Dijon would mean survival for them. At the moment, Rodez are 0-0 at home to Paris FC, and they will be going down with Soyo as it stands. And elsewhere, Le Havre, who have survived in their first season at the highest level, they are 2-1 down to Bordeaux. Maël Garbino with the go-ahead goal for Bordeaux in that game. But here, Lyon leading by 3-0. And they are a team who have racked up the goals on so many occasions. They've scored 5 or more on 5 separate occasions this season. And against a team who they've never failed to beat in the D1 Arkema on 7 previous occasions. This looks like heading for another huge victory. It was 8-3 in their first ever meeting, and Ada Hegerberg scored a hat-trick, and I would imagine she'll be keen to get off the bench here very quickly. Majri, here is Le Sommer, cut back again, and Brune, it was deflected, and it was nearly 4.
That was great defending by Stade de Reims. There, you know, there are moments of very good defending by this team, and also when they're winning the ball, they're not giving it away directly. They're keeping it. They're trying to play out the back. You know, but this is again the goal that we saw from Maroujan, and just the lovely little flick onto Marlard's head to make it 3-0. Just so easy, doesn't it? She just makes it look so easy. I don't remember it being that easy, Nigel. But yeah, they just need to tighten up a bit, Stade de Reims in the back. We don't need this going into a bigger score line.
It's deep, and it was Agarola who was rising. And she believes it should be another corner, but a goal kick has been given in the end. With Lyon scoring twice in the opening 10 minutes, and then adding to their lead just after the half hour. Of course, it was such a tight title race for much of the season, but Lyon just pulling away when they have to in the end. And it's been a theme in recent years in the main that PSG put up a challenge and then fade right at the end, and that's what they seem to be doing during this campaign. Majri, Renard, Egarola, Maroujan. Again, she's got that pocket of room and she's able to pick the pass. Cayman, Le Sommer. It's one back on this occasion by Mayong, but it will come straight back. Cayman, Majri again with a really nice turn. The 1-2 with Le Sommer. And Majri looking for that angle ball in. She gets it back from Doucouré. It's a shot on target, but this time it's a comfortable save for Semic.
Stade de Reims just got a little bit lucky there as well, just with the defending and the ball coming back in right into the middle. They got lucky that Majri was not feeling cutthroat in that moment, because she could have put that away. We've seen her do it many times before. But interestingly, Stade de Reims is trying to still play out. Lyon is still playing quite a high press.
Here is Dumonet. You know she's capable of something special, but just held up on this occasion by Le Sommer. Corboz, Bouchen, Dumonet again. Of course, she's up against players she'll be training with his teammates next season, but she has the sort of mindset where she'll be determined to show off her best talents. And Ata Football is excited to announce their 3-year partnership with the Girls Academy, the only youth development platform focused on growing the female soccer player as both an athlete and a person. The Girls Academy play an integral part in Ata Football's mission to inspire the youth soccer community by connecting them to the women's game. And of course, you played your international football for New Zealand, but born in Los Angeles, you played youth football at a very young age, and clearly it was something that you were able to develop on.
Very important, so important. And you know, living in England now, all of the discussion about girls not being able to play football in schools, and just the lack of opportunities in some countries. And I think in the US we were very, very lucky that we have loads of different types of opportunities for girls to play. It's so, so important.
Marjorie with the cross in, but it's blocked by Doucouré. Ramona Bachmann has given PSG the lead at Soyo, celebrating her new contract as the Sommer is unable to control here. And it's important for PSG that someone like Bachmann is hanging around, because a number of big-name players do seem to be on their way from PSG, and Bachmann could be a real team leader next season.
Definitely, and one of the top Swiss international players as well, heading to the World Cup. She's such an important player. I remember playing against her many, many times, specifically in the Cyprus Cup, I think it was, where we always ended up playing Switzerland. And she's still so, so fast and skillful, and just with that experience now that she has, she seems to find herself in the right place at the right time. Doesn't move as much as she used to, but is just a smarter player. She's become that in her age, you know, as she's aged into the sport. So really important player for PSG moving forward, and Switzerland this summer.
Clara Matteo, another player who has signed a new deal for their club, has given Paris FC the lead at Rodez. So that would ensure that Paris finish third in the table, ahead of Fleury, who are currently leading their game. And also, Dijon are leading by a goal to nil against Montpellier. They would stay up, and Rodez would join Soyo in the second tier next season. And of course, this is the final D1 Arkema season with the current format at the top. Next season, there will be playoffs to decide the championship. The top 4 will meet in semi-finals and a final to sort out the Champions League places, as a powerful run forward from Dumonet into the penalty area, and then the shot is fired in, and it's a good save from Holmgren, because she had to hang on there with the challenge right behind her of Imran.
Absolutely, and here we can finally see the speed of Dumonet and really putting Renard to the test. And a great little layoff she has there, a wonderful shot, and again, like you mentioned, a very good save by Holmgren, because had that popped out, there was definitely a player hanging around that could have just slotted that in for the 3-1. So good defending by Lyon, as well as a great offensive chance by Stade de Reims.
Only Reims' second shot on goal. So far, Lyon have had 11, and 6 of those have been on target, and 3 have gone into the back of the net.
We see Reims trying to play. They're trying to play out of the back, and they're connecting 3 or 4 passes and just losing it in that midfield. And against a team like Lyon, it's very dangerous, because you know that they're going to be coming at you with players, and you're going to be out of position. But it's great to see that they're trying to play, and you can see that's going to develop these young players moving forward, rather than, you know, sitting back in a low block and just looking to try to hit your fast strikers like Dumornay and Meillon, who do have that capability to play more direct, or to receive more direct. But I'd like to see them do a bit more of that, I think, in the second half.
Another free kick here for Lyon. Marajan is just sizing things up once again. Renard joined by Kaymat in the attack, and Marjorie may take over in the end. Flighted in by Marjorie. Again, Reynard was challenging, but this time she's been penalised by our referee, Elisa Dupont, and both Brun and Semic are down inside the penalty area, and they collided after the free kick was given.
It's great to see Semic getting a chance to play as well. The Polish goalkeeper for Reims, like you mentioned, the Mexican international is gone, and yeah, you don't want to see her injured here because they don't really have as many backups as they.
She gathered the ball well. The free kick was given there for the nudge on Demahan, but then Brun coming in and her momentum carrying her into the goalkeeper. The free kick was given for that challenge on Le Sommer by Barclay.
So hard in that situation because Brun is focusing on the ball and the direction of the ball as the goalkeeper is coming out, and it's one of those unfortunate things really that, again, I don't think there's any malice in it or anything untowards, but it did look like a pretty hard tackle, didn't it?
Clara Weibo is the backup goalkeeper, and she's 18 years of age today. She may get an opportunity here. It was the shoulder that clattered into the face of Semic.
She was going full speed out, wasn't she? And Brun was coming full speed in, so massive change of direction from that force. It's been great to see. These fans are amazing with all the different types of flags. I was going to mention it earlier.
Real League of Nations, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, the teams are Real League of Nations, so they travel up and down the French countryside to support their team, and there's always an array of flags there. Of course, we have Swedes, Belgians, Germans, Dutch playing today, and
Danish,
of course a Dane as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's something that they are keen to do, as the stretcher has been called here for Kinga Semic, which is not good to see. Janice Kayman is offering assistance. Signe Brun is back on her feet, and I think her first thought was to check on the goalkeeper.
Yeah, I still like that. I think this is really important in the game still, to take care of each other. And you know, there's been so many injuries, so much talk about the ACL injuries, but just in general, and especially during this time period when you're just finishing off your season and you have a few months down to go to the World Cup or a big tournament in the summer. You really don't want to see any injuries between now and then. We saw Alexia Putellas miss out on the Women's Euros last summer 2 days before their first match. So these are things we don't want to be seeing. So it's really nice to see the players still helping each other out and, you know, playing fairly. And
of course, we saw Delphine Cascarino pick up the injury, which looked fairly innocuous last week, and she's out of the World Cup with an ACL, and it's a discussion for another day. Of course, Semic is back on her feet, but doesn't look to be in a good way. But the number of ACL injuries, the game is getting quicker, and of course there's a greater edge of physicality at the highest level. Of course, there are physiological issues as well, and reasons for that, but it's such a great shame we're seeing so many of our top players unavailable for the biggest games.
That's unbelievably sad, Nigel. I think, as you said, the load is just getting more and more in the women's game. This is what we've wanted. This is what we've known is coming. And yet the medical teams, the research, the practical application of some of the research that already is out there, in fact, is just not getting down to the teams. And it needs to improve. We need to invest more in the medical side of the women's game, in the preventative side of the women's game, so that we don't see these types of things. I mean, this injury now with Semic coming out and Mubat coming in is certainly not, you know, this happens in football when you have collisions, but the ACLs, they are preventable.
Well, Kinga Semic departs. Clara Weibo, on her 18th birthday, comes on to make her debut away to Olympique Lyonnais with their team 3 goals down before half-time. Good luck to her.
Yeah, what a tough situation, isn't it?
But what an opportunity.
Again, yes, absolutely. She'll learn a lot from this game.
We pass into added time, and there will be a very large chunk of that. Moroni. She got it back from Renard, but straight out of play. And it will be a throw-in for Stade Reims, who have had 1 or 2 moments, but no more than that, really. They are a team who will continue to play in a certain manner. Amandine Miquel. As we pass into 4 added minutes, she does have a philosophy and tries to stick to that. And her record against teams in the bottom half of the table is 10 wins, 1 draw and 1 loss, so they need to try and break through that glass ceiling, the teams above them. And it will only be 1 point in 10 games against the top 5 this season, and that's the issue they need to address. But at the same time, it's difficult when you have a budget which dictates that your best players will go elsewhere. What will happen with Melchi Doumanet heading to Lyon next season?
And like you said, it's always a challenge in the domestic leagues, especially in the women's game now where it's developing. It's a good run here by Stade Reims, sorry. But yeah, it's always important really to have that, making sure that those top teams are not so much better than the mid group, and especially at the bottom of the table, so that it makes it more competitive. And that's certainly been some of the criticism of the D1 here in France, is that the Lyon and PSGs are just so much better than the other clubs. And how do you keep it competitive? It's certainly a challenge for those running the leagues and running the clubs as well. Certainly more investment from the middle to bottom of the table will always be helping that.
Mayon, Houchen. Paris FC will finish 3rd in the table again, it seems. But there was a battle between themselves, Fleury and Montpellier, to try and finish in the top 3. Here is Mashri, almost picked out the runner Brune down the centre. But the bottom 3, Dijon, Rodez and Sawyer, were fairly distant from a group of clubs in mid-table beneath Stade Reims. And you always get areas of a table, but as Cayman there with the challenge on Imran concedes the free kick. But there is a situation now in England where there do seem to be 4 genuine title contenders, where previously there were maybe only 2. So it's about getting that depth as Cayman picks up a yellow card for that challenge. But it's difficult, and often it comes down to the finances of the parent club.
Absolutely. Yeah, and we were talking about that earlier, that the combination or the connection between the men's and the women's clubs is so important now in the women's game to help with the financing of it. But I've really been impressed with Imran and Dumornay, and both of them. You know, the Nigerian striker Imran just has a lot of speed, and that turn that she had, you know, at 18 years of age, I think there's a lot of potential there.
Here is Jolie. This is a very young team. Pascaro. She lets fly, and it's over the top in the end.
Why not?
Absolutely. It's a busy evening inside the Groupama Arena. We will have the trophy celebration at the end of this game before the 2 men's teams meet in Ligue 1. But at half-time in the D1 Arcame at Lyon are heading for their 11th successive victory. Wendy Renard on the score sheet along with Jennifer Marajan in the opening 10 minutes, and then a 3rd goal added on the half hour by Melvin Mallard on her return to the side. And on his farewell, Jean-Michel Ola is enjoying a dog referee for this game.
Did I just jinx her, though?
Well, it's Stade Reims to get the second half underway, with Lyon leading here by 3 goals to 0. And they scored right at the start, 2 goals up in 10 minutes, but Reims have had 1 or 2 opportunities, and there was the potential for another one there, but Imran, who has done well so far down the left-hand side, but just flagged offside. And the positive for Reims in what was a difficult first half is that so many of their young players did not hide.
Absolutely, and it's been great to see them trying to play. They're trying to work the ball out from the back, sometimes a little bit too much. I think they are trying to go centrally when they could be going wide, or even more direct when you see Moran and De Mornay, 2 top players, 2 strikers that have incredible speed. We just saw there Moran actually looking faster than Renard, which is very, very unlikely or not normal to see. So yeah, they've been confident actually, despite the scoreline, which is great to see.
They lost 5-1 on the opening day of the season at home. De Mornay was on the score sheet then.
That's a great touch.
And here is another opportunity, and it was the young player we were talking about earlier on, Imran, who chose to go for the near post, and Holmgren had to make the save.
Very impressive first touch that just got her out of pressure around 3 Lyon players to be able to get that opportunity to get the shot off. Again, I'm just really impressed by her. 18 years old, from Nigeria, and just the speed, the skill, and it's just that experience that now will need to shape these couple players up front as well.
Now the response from Lyon, but it's beyond Signe Bruin this time. Of course, she was on loan at Manchester United last season before returning to score the goal which clinched the title. And I'm sure that she will shine back in the English game next season, which seems to be the destination. Of course, Caterina Macario also seems to be on her way to Chelsea. Hasn't played for Lyon this season, and she won't be featuring for the US at the World Cup either. That was a lovely turn on the far side, and a yellow card will be shown for the nature of the challenge, which halted Signe Bruin.
What a player Signe Bruin is, just in the last years as well. Look at that little meg right in between the legs. That is something you do never want to have as a defender. I always had a coach that said the ball goes through, the player goes through, but they both don't go through together if it goes between your legs. And Demi making sure that that was the case, picking up a yellow.
Picks up the latest yellow card in the game. She's another young Nigerian defender. Reims clearly have a very enterprising scouting network to pick up players from elsewhere beyond Europe. Renard challenging for the header, but it's over the top this time.
She's not used to having to jump, I think, is the issue there, Nigel. No, it was another great ball in, and just again very, very hard to defend Wendy Renard. And the only thing that Deming can do a bit better there is be touch tight with her so that she can put her off.
Martini Bourdieu has put Paris FC 2 goals up at Rodez, so they are just easing towards 3rd place once again. Rodez will be going down this season along with Soyo. Of course, their fate was sealed a couple of weeks ago, and they're featuring on Atta Football this afternoon, losing 1-0 at home to Paris Saint-Germain. Now Moroni deep into the penalty area again, and what a solid challenge that was from Decore. Had to win the ball, and did.
Pasquerot, centre-back for Reims, just having a bit of trouble there clearing the ball. A couple times going straight back up the centre, and can be very dangerous against this Lyon team. She got lucky there that it didn't lead to a goal.
Moroni will take the throw-in. Star-studded bench for Lyon today. Dabritz, Hegerberg, Gilles, among those who I'm sure we will see at some stage. Here is Imran again. And the cross delivered this time, but calmly done by Renard.
Yeah, true. Basha as well, one of my favorite French players on the bench.
She played last week. Here is a player coming back from injury, Mallard. Looking to take on Pascano. Sweeps her aside. It was a great ball in, but there was nobody waiting to apply the finish. Signe Broom was back on her heels there just for a change.
Yeah. It's great to see Mallard back into it, isn't it? I mean, she was so good in the last years, and with France, and I think with Katoto being out, and now Cascarino.
Diani as well.
Diani, exactly. Cascarino as well. I think Mallard will need to feature heavily in this Women's World Cup for France, and they'll rely on her quite a lot. So I think these games, you know, it's important, this game, even though we know that they've already won the league, Lyon, and Reims is at 6th place and won't be moving up or down, but it's still important that they get that experience, and especially for players coming back from injury, these types of games are so vital for their preparation.
Here's Dumonet once again, such a comfortable run, and she's gone beyond Renard. Renard, though, stretching out those long legs to make the recovery challenge, and in the end the cross goes all the way through, and it was communication in the end between Holmgren and Moroni which avoided embarrassment.
Wow, this is amazing. Dumornay really pushing Wendy Renard to her defensive, you know, really, yeah, that's amazing. I mean, you barely ever see Renard go to ground, especially with her go-go gadget legs. She always seems to get the tackle in even when you've gone around her. So you can see the speed of Dumornay there pushing her. Haitian 19-year-old.
Agarola is coming off to be replaced by another youngster, Ines Vanyahia. The Dutch international, born in Orlando, but featuring, of course, in Europe. And now Wendy Renard will come off, and Sarah de Brits will come on. But of course, Renard will be back to pick up the trophy, and we will bring you that live on Out of Football. So there will be a reshuffle here.
It looks like Lyon's going to a 3-back with Daybridge just sitting in that pocket right in front of them.
Sombat moving into the centre. We have seen Renard only now and again exposed by pace, and it has been, ironically, players for the lesser clubs. We've seen it with Dumonet here, and also in the game at Reims, and also Kouassi, the player for Fleury, who was lightning quick, and at times Renard one-on-one, that's about the only time she can be exposed, can't she?
Yeah, and I think it's only been sort of later on in her career as she's gotten a little bit more experienced and, dare I say, a little bit older legs. But again, I mean, I got tongue-tied. I didn't even know what to say because it's so rare that you say Renard on the ground due to being outpaced. So it's just another tribute to Dumornay, the Haitian 19-year-old who's going to be featuring in the World Cup for the very first time, and just the speed and the skill that she had too to get around her, you know.
Rosemont Kouassi is another. Here is Brune, and the shot in the end is lifted over the top by Le Sommer from very close range. She was looking for the corner, but goal kick in the end.
Just looked like there was a little bit of a getting caught up, and Brune then finding Le Sommer. I don't think Le Sommer could kick that over if she tried in training again. One of those where you're right in front of the goal, but she was definitely put off by the defender, which was good defense by Reims. She comes again.
Here is Dumonet again, and she could be in this time, all on her own. Looks to chop back, and now she's got support. Oh, dear me, what a chance for Imran to score away to Lyon on a plate from Dumonet, but she fluffed her lines at the key moment.
Wow, and this is what we were talking about. Dumornay, this is what you wanted to see, a bit more play, watch them play a little bit more direct, and it almost looked like a handball when the ball flicked up, and no one really said anything. Oh, there we go. We did see them say that, but then here's just the experience, the lack of experience, because Imran has been amazing this game, but with the ball at her feet, and it's just that lack of experience of being in front of the goal, in front of an open goal against Lyon, that you can see the lack of composure there.
But looking ahead to next season, maybe the one thing that Lyon lack at the very highest level in the really big games is pace up top, and now they will have it with Dumonet.
Yeah, absolutely. She's going to be a great addition to this Lyon team. We've seen Les Sommer up front and Brun, and you have Hegerberg, so you have really good strikers that get themselves in the right place at the right time, but being able to play really direct over the top has not really been Lyon's game in the past, and it's good to see them add that element with Dumonet coming next season.
Sonia, the latest player to be booked for that challenge on Majri. Marajan will take the free kick. Fleury now 4 goals up against Guingamp, but it won't be enough for them to finish in the top 3. Marajan down the side, and there's time for Dabritz to turn, and in the end the cross is guarded behind by Pasquero for a corner.
I almost thought Dabritz was going to turn and try to shoot that there. She's also one of those type of players, the German international, who could have hit the top corner there from inside the box, but chose to look for Brun instead. Brun was thankful for it.
Emily Vansgaard has put PSG 2 goals up at Soyo. That game also available on Atta Football today. Majri now has the armband and the corner, which bounces all the way through the 6-yard area. Nobody gets the touch, and it will be a goal kick. And Atta Football has launched their new platform, which gives fans free access to over 140 live and on-demand matches from top European leagues, an extensive player development library to help you learn from the world's best, exclusive highlights, interviews, behind-the-scenes content and more. Come join the squad and become a member today. Visit attafootball.com and download the Atta Football app. Reflections on there today of Chelsea's title success in England for the 4th successive year, wrapping up the WSL with a 3-0 victory against Reading, and they are relegated. Manchester United and Arsenal finishing in the Champions League places, and that's despite a home defeat for Arsenal today against Aston Villa. Rachel Daly with yet another goal. And we will have an interesting season coming up in 12 months' time. Here. And now Marajan. It's allowed to run, and Majri will let fly, and the goalkeeper's lost it. And Majri makes it 4. And the 18-year-old Clara Wiebo rather losing her bearings there under the spinning ball. And Majri has a goal that her performance deserves, but maybe in slightly fortuitous circumstances.
You could see that Majri was looking for it, but yeah, it's a bit unfortunate given the fact that Simic had to go out in the first half due to a head injury, potential concussion, without coming in at 18-year-old and again on her birthday. And I think she, moving forward with more experience, I think she'll be able to handle those with no problem.
But Majri maybe didn't catch it quite as cleanly as she was looking to, but the trajectory of the ball was too much for the goalkeeper. Majri, who has been specialising in assists recently, but here was an opportunity for Imran, and once again at the key moment she's unable to apply the finish.
What a great save by Holmgren. I mean, first of all, the through ball to Imran from pretty far deep in their half, and then one-on-one with the goalkeeper, and great timing by Holmgren to come out and just secure that, because that was definitely could have been the 4-1.
Pasquero, and here is Corboz. And there is space wide for Imran once again, and off target this time.
I like it. I like it. Stade de Reims coming out the second half and putting some pressure on. Really, again, they've been trying to play out this whole game, and sometimes it really hasn't worked for them. Lyon has been pressing really high the whole time, and again, Imran getting in the right place in the right time, and her first touch could have been a little bit more towards the center. It probably would have set her up a bit better for that shot on goal, but still, they're looking good. And again, here, they're pressing high. They're really trying to put pressure on this Lyon team, and it's great to see. They're really trying to go for it.
Well, I think they probably realise that attack is the best form of defence with the players they have in their team. And
absolutely.
Without Bernard at the back now for Lyon, there is maybe less of a presence there as Hussein is fouled by Majri. It will be a free kick. Majri has taken the captain's armband, but Bernard will be leading the presentation at the end of this game.
I have to say, I really like what Amandine Miquel has done, the coach for Stade de Reims. She's decided, you know, with Lyon going to a 3-back, that she's going to press them and stay high and really put pressure on them. This is not a team that's looking just to sit back and finish this game and try to keep the score line at 3-4-0. She's really looking to press and get these players attacking and aggressive, and this is the type of mentality we want to be seeing.
Now Mayong does well to win it back, and she holds off the challenge. Dumonet waits on the edge of the penalty area. Corboz, and her effort is wide in the end.
It's the most shots on goal we've seen in the last 2 minutes in the whole game. Brilliant.
Rachel Corboz does have a couple of goals this season, but why not?
Yeah, absolutely. You could see there too, Imran had, you know, was near the box and could have potentially tried to get a shot off, and just flicks it with the outside of her foot. So just that vision that she has as well. She's, you know, pretty well-rounded player. It's so young, only 18 years old.
Monique Ngok, the young Cameroon international, is coming on. And Mayong is the other player who has withdrawn. And another potential Haitian World Cup star is coming on, Kathna Louis. And Louis and Dumonet will be leading the charge for Haiti at the World Cup. Jolie, the other player who was withdrawn. So attacking changes made by Amandine Miquel. She's been the coach since 2017, so she brought Stade de Reims back into the top flight. They won 5 of the opening 8 French championships back in the 1970s, and when France had to send a team to play in a world tournament in Taiwan in 1978, they sent the entire Stade de Reims team, and they ended up winning it.
Amazing.
Miquel, and it's picked out by Brune, and in the end the shot is scrambled clear. Ben Yahia, Dabritz, it's a good ball in, and Mallard in the end was denied. It will be a corner. And it's a very entertaining game here now, with both teams making it very stretched on a big pitch.
Really good, and this is where Stade de Reims just keeps getting caught out. They're trying to play through the middle with a Lyon team that's just got a very strong midfield, and a great run by Dabritz just to stay onside and get that ball across, and Mallard won't be happy with that.
Dabritz with the corner, Mallard challenging, and there is number 5. And there is the goal that many of the people here wanted to see today from Eugénie Le Sommet. One of the mainstays in Lyon's period of dominance applies the finishing touch this time.
It's a great ball in by Dabritz. Not a good clearance, and just Le Sommet sneaks in behind the defender and just is in the right place at the right time, and that's what she's so good at. I mean, this is what experience brings to you as you get older and as you get more experience in the game. It's great to see her back on the score sheet. It's great to see her back with the French team. But it's really unfortunate because Stade de Reims was having such a good go at an offensive attack and was starting to build some confidence. So I would have liked to have seen them be able to have a bit more possession and maybe sneak one in there.
Melvin Mallard and Signe Brun have been taken off, and Ada Hegerberg will be coming on, so things won't get any easier for Stade de Reims in the short term. Melvin Mallard also making way, so Signe Brun takes her bow. There's a Lyon player. Another talented forward player coming on, Vicky Béchot, player who was not on loan last season at Stade Reims. And again, Stade Reims looking to attack as Lyon have a player down, so play will be halted. It's Pelmeroni. Looks to be a facial problem. Every time a player goes down at the moment so close to the World Cup, there is always concern, but it was Louis who was just looking to hold her off there and maybe just caught her in the eye.
Moroni's been great in that first half as well on that left side. The combination with her and Mallard has been really fantastic to watch.
She'll just retreat to this near side. And we resume with a drop ball. And now Rochen. And Joué again, so comfortable to pick the ball up in those deeper areas.
So dynamic, isn't she, as well? She just can change direction on the spot. She kind of reminds me of sort of a modern-day Marta, in fact. If I'm allowed to say so.
Well,
it's a big
that
statement.
sort of player, isn't it? Somebody who is content to create the opportunities on their own. She's not just a finisher by any means. Here is Louis, and she's another player who will be looking to make an impact at the World Cup. And if you saw the way that Haiti qualified when they beat Christian Endler and Chile in the playoff game, and Joué's finishing was devastating in that match.
Unbelievable. And it was so great to see Haiti qualifying for the Women's World Cup, because obviously they had a devastating earthquake that was pretty destructive in 2021, and yeah, it was such a powerful event for the country, and so many issues with the federation, and the top people there were not really very supportive of the women's team, and in fact were found guilty of sexual harassment and abuse within the federation. So it's so great to see this Haiti team being able to not only qualify and over Chile, and like you mentioned, Tiani Endler, who's sitting on the bench for Lyon today as the goalkeeper, but it'll just be great to see them in their very first Women's World Cup, and these players, they deserve it.
And they've got some players who will certainly catch the eye, and we're seeing a couple of them on the field here today. Sandy Baltimore's made it 3-0 for PSG elsewhere in Atta football today, away to Soyo, so they are signing off with a victory against the bottom club. Elsewhere, Fleury leading Gangon 4-0. Dijon sealing survival, 2 goals up now against Montpellier. Paris FC still leading Rodez 3-0. Rodez are going down along with Soyo. Bordeaux now lead at Le Havre by 4 goals to 1. A second goal for Maël Garbino there. And the big scorers once again. Lyon scoring 5 goals in a game, at least 5 goals in a game, for the 6th time this season. And the supporters celebrating with the Viking clap here, which will be appreciated by Ada Hegerberg. Brits, Hegerberg, Besho using her pace, and in the end, good defending from the captain, Doucouré, because both Hegerberg and De Brits were waiting there to apply the finishing touch.
Very good defending, and you could see the acceleration as well from Besho, just getting past the defender there, and very good read by Doucouré. She's been under a lot of pressure this game, and she's really held up well, and must be difficult to lead that back as well when you know that you're playing against such good players with the Lyon offense.
Scramble clear eventually. Sombat. It's all the way back to Holmgren, who's had one or two saves to make throughout the game, but of course Lyon have dominated so many of the categories on the stat chart. 15 shots, 8 on target. France have had 7 with 2 on target, but they've created opportunities in the second half, and the key thing for them is they have kept playing. And she's given the ball away, and Le Sommet almost capitalized with the spectacular goal.
That's exactly what I was talking about since the first half. I think that if there's one takeaway from this game for Michael, the coach of STADE de REIMS, is that they really need to be careful when they're in that middle section there, because when they give the ball away there, that's when they're seeing teams come at them, and that's when the goals are being scored. So they really need to just, when they clear the ball, get it wide, get it forward.
2 goals in 5 minutes for Olympique. Paris FC are 4 goals up now at Rodez. Domenech, and now Louis, just forced wide initially, but she maintains possession. Ocean. Louis takes over, and the shot is over the top in the end, but no surprise that the 2 Haitians were key to that attack.
Again, Dumournet impressing. Not only was she looking to goal, but then she had the capability to have the vision to look up and see her Haitian teammate Louis on the right-hand side wide open and play it across to her. So
I mean, she's only 19, but she doesn't seem to have the rawness that the young players of that age often have. You can be quick, you can offer a threat, but often you can make the wrong decision. She rarely does that.
Absolutely, and we've seen her grow into this game as well. As the game's gone on, she's been able to show more and more facets of her capabilities, and not just her speed.
Here was an opportunity once again for Le Sommet. Hegerberg waits in the centre, the cross in, looking for her, and she applies the finish. Number 6, Ada Hegerberg, steps off the bench yet again to score a goal. She's done that 4 times recently for Lyon at the end of the season. And it's great to see her back fit, enjoying football and scoring once again.
It's a great cross by Eugénie Le Sommet. She finds the overlapping run, gets the cross in, and Hegerberg is so good at this. She's so focused when it comes to the crosses. I've so rarely seen any striker that is as good as her at just focusing on the delivery of the ball and where she needs to be to get that ball in the back of the net. And it's a bit of a shame for the goalkeeper as well. Wout is only 18 years old today. You said Nigel, could have come out for that. It was almost within the 5-yard box. Just done a bit more there to deflect the ball, but again, you're playing against some of the world's best strikers here, so.
6 different goal scorers for Lyon, and some big names on the score sheet today.
That'll be pretty big for Hegerberg as well, who had obviously her ACL injury last season, has come back this season, has had another injury that's put her back on the bench. So every goal that she's having this season.
There's Benya here now, scooping it forward, and De Brits almost makes it 7.
Going back to Hegerberg, any goal that she's going to be scoring is just going to be adding confidence for her in terms of heading into this World Cup. And here's another one where Eugénie just gets a touch on it to get it to
Well, considering
Davids.
Norway was so poor in the Euros, and Hegerberg was playing in that, of course, she wasn't injured, and I remember covering the game against Austria when they had to win, and they were just awful.
Really bad.
And so they have a point to prove, don't they?
Absolutely. And you've seen Guro Reiten, like you were mentioning, Chelsea, and winning the league in the WSL. She's been one of my favorite players, a Norwegian midfielder. I think for me, she'd be the pick of the player of the season for the WSL. It'll be interesting to see how Norway does now with some changes.
Now an opportunity for Hegerberg again, but it's blocked by Paskero, and it will be a corner kick. But France maybe just running out of steam here, and as a result, Lyon are not easing up.
France just needs to make sure they're tight in the back. They just need to tighten up because they don't want this to be a blowout score. They've played so well. They've had some really nice chances. They've been offensive in the second half. So they just need to really focus and keep it concise and condensed in the back.
And the corner this time is claimed by the 18-year-old, which will do her confidence no harm at all.
It's a good take by the goalkeeper without a little bit of pressure on her from...
She came on during the first half, the injury for Kinga Semic. And it's a difficult time to come on at 3 goals down to make your debut against one of the best teams in the world, and it'll be a learning curve for her. It's been a fairly steep one today, but hopefully she'll benefit from it in the long term. And Gok winning the ball back again. Here is Dumonet continuing, and this time it's wide again. Well, they've had some chances.
She is brilliant. Even when she sits off of the outside of the defender to get the ball, to be able to pick it up, she's sitting in the right position so that her players can play her a ball where she can take that first touch inside, so she can take on the defender and get the shot off. Really good positioning by her.
I think it's Haiti against England in the first game of the World Cup. That's going to be interesting.
Oh, right. I thought you were going to say for the final.
No. Well, you never know, but the first game.
Yeah.
So, of course, England without Leah Williamson at the back.
Absolutely. Yeah, big loss. And Millie Bright is a big question mark now as well.
Yeah, so there's talk of players like Maya Letitia of Manchester United coming into the side, but she doesn't have a huge amount of international experience, and of course, while they'll scout, they won't have played against someone like Melchi Dumonet too many times before.
Absolutely, and England have to be careful because this Haiti team has some good players, and with someone like Dumonet, fall asleep for 2 seconds and she will score on you.
Here is De Brits, and it's blocked, and Shen with the opportunity to break again. Louis pulling away to the right, Dumonet on the left, and now Louis will try and skip away from Veroni. Just held up initially, but again, she is so strong on the ball.
Does really well to keep the ball there and not lose it, and then find her own teammates on the opposite side as well.
Dumonet. It's cleared by Sombat on this occasion. Now the Sommer. A good challenge to win it back from Demahat. Paskero. Shen. Masri snapping away at her heels to force the error, and Batcher will keep the ball in play, and Rons could be in trouble here. Batcher again. Here is Hegerberg again. Can she make it 7? She doesn't have to, because Le Sommer does. And if you leave Hegerberg and Le Sommer free inside your penalty area, you will always have problems.
Feel a little bit like a broken record here, but again, they've lost the ball in the middle and don't have the time to recover. You can see Pasqueret sprinting to try to get back, but just can't get there in time, and Hegerberg free on the run and has the skill and just the patience to stop, look up, play Les Sommers wide open in the middle. Again, that was on the transition. lots of learnings for this squad. Stade de REIMS, lots of positives in this game, but really some patterns that they should really focus on to try to improve for next season.
Well, it's a fairly chastening finish for them. And they've made another change, another teenager, 18-year-old Shana Chouasseneau coming on to replace Rachel Corbaz. And Sarah Holmgren is also coming off, and another change, Thelma Enninger replacing Sayla Barclay for Stade Reims. Enninger came through the academy in Paris Saint-Germain, and Sarah Holmgren is coming off, and Elisa Pejlovic, the third choice goalkeeper for Lyon, is getting an opportunity on the field now at 7-0 up. Atta Football is excited to announce their 3-year partnership with the Girls Academy, the only youth development platform focused on growing the female soccer player as both an athlete and a person. The Girls Academy play an integral part in Atta Football's mission to inspire the youth soccer community by connecting them to the women's game. Now Marjorie once again. The Brits. Marjorie takes over. It's another cross, and of course, Sommer is looking to complete the hat-trick now, but it was Hegerberg who headed it wide.
Another good cross from Marjorie. She's been involved in so much of the attack for this Lyon team from the midfield, but also she's getting wide and getting those crosses in.
Rosamond Kouassi has made it 5-0 for Fleury against Gangon, and Kouassi, another player who is on the list of contenders for the Players Union Player of the Year. Marjorie, won back by Enninger. Maroney. And now De Brits. This is closed down by Enninger.
Debrits is such a skilled player from the German national team, but if you're a midfielder and you're a young player looking to play internationally, Debrits is such a great player to watch. If you watch her off the ball movement, that's where she creates so many opportunities. How she's breaking lines, where she's getting into space, her first touch when she receives it. She's one of the best to watch. Very underrated, makes things look very simple, but just a great player to watch off the ball.
And of course, Lyon scored in the opening minute, and since then they've looked dangerous every time they've come forward, and Marajan unable to find Betcher this time. Matched the scoreline they managed at Le Havre earlier this season when they won by 7-0. Dijon is their biggest win when they scored 8. But they are relentless, and they're always looking to set records, and if they find another goal here, it will be 70 league goals this season, and they've only conceded 8. Remain the team to beat, 6 points clear of the rest. Louis, that's a good ball. Imran is in here. The cross is blocked, and then the shot is fired in, and it's off the post. And Ron's unlucky there. Ben Yahia. Closed down well. Reims will try and win it back, and I think it was Chouasseneau who had the shot, which came back off the post. And at the other end, it was gathered by Weibo.
You can tell Chouasseneau, it's a some fresh legs there for Reims, not only playing offensive and getting the shot off that went off the post, but then working back when Lyon won the ball to win it back for Reims as well. Only 18 years old as well, French player.
It is a very young team, Stade Reims, and that should be remembered really. Looking at the scoreline, they're facing some of the world's best players here. When you hear the youngster herself with the shot there, which was wide. But Marie-Jeanne Renard, Mallard, Marjorie, Le Sommer with 2, and Hegerberg on the score sheet.
Ooh, that was close.
And Lyon are just the sort of team that never really ease off.
It's a great ball.
Here is Choiseneau once again. Dumonet pulling out to the edge of the penalty area, and she applies a brilliant finish. And the Haitian international, who will hope to star at the World Cup, comes up with a brilliant goal.
Finally, she has really deserved that goal as well. I mean, what a ball, though. Look at that. That is a gorgeous diagonal ball, and then Choiseneau just getting on the end of it. Pass back to Dumonet, and that is a world-class goal right there off the side netting. She did win the golden ball for the best player at the 2018 CONCACAF Women's Under-17 Championship, so she's used to winning. And she then was at the Under-20 World Cup in France, and has been named the next-gen list of the best young players in the world in 2022. And she just has such a bright future, doesn't she? She's just fascinating.
Well, she's not too bad now, is she?
Yeah.
So.
I'm enjoying watching her now, yeah.
Well, she scored against Lyon in both of the games this season. And it's only the 9th goal that Lyon have conceded this season. And it's the first ever goal that Reims have managed to score away to Lyon in the D1 Arkema. And just gives a glimpse of her talent as Lyon have a player down here, Moroni the player.
So that's history for Reims. Their first goal against Lyon at Lyon, ever.
And it's no surprise that Dumonet's come up with the goal today.
That's amazing.
And they have not stopped playing, they've not stopped attacking, and it was Louis there who pulled back Moroni initially. And
yeah, they're fighting. I mean, that was, again, no maliciousness in that tackle. I don't think. It was just fighting to the end, and it's 7-1. So many teams would just sit back and concede, play a low block, but this team is still fighting. They're still going in for tackles. They've just got a late goal, and it's great to see because it means that they have, a bright future, and these young players are motivated. They want to get into, good squads. They want to represent their team, and they want to show well.
And of course, Melchi Dumonet will be showing off for Lyon next season, so she's given her new club an idea of her talents there, although I'm sure they were aware of them. And that was one of the first deals that Lyon sorted out for next season. Flicked on by Hegerberg, and Marie-Jeanne on the turn, but it's straight at the goalkeeper this time. And very quickly they're looking to build again, and everything coming down that left-hand side now with Choiseneau. And Gok. And it's all young players that are doing it here for Reims. Enninger. The support from Dumonet. She lets fly, and in the end the third choice goalkeeper is able to make the save, but she had no chance with what happened earlier.
Enninger is a 21-year-old French player, and why not? If you have the opportunity to take a shot against Lyon just outside the box, just shows the confidence that these young players have.
Now Moroni away from Enninger, and it's cleared away by Imran initially, but Bishop looking to go beyond Ngok, but she sticks to it, makes the challenge, and Choiseneau will try and bring it clear again here as we head into added time.
See Moran just dropping a bit deeper there and playing more of a defensive role now. We saw her in the first half more offensive. Her and De Mornay were combining quite a lot, and it's good to see that the flexibility in her and her positions, how she can play sort of all over the pitch as well.
Fleury had beaten Gangon 6-0 in the end, and Paris had won 3-0 at Soyo. Here is Louis. 5 forward in this attack, and it's Doucouré, but the full-time whistle goes as the shot is struck. And Lyon have warmed up for the title presentation with a big victory here, beating Stade Reims by 7 goals to 0. Sonia Bampastor and Omondi Mikel reflecting on the game. Tears for Janice Cayman in her final game with Lyon. And they have a star-studded team sheet here today with so many big names on the score sheet, but part of Lyon's next generation, Melchi Dumonet, also with an outstanding strike for Stade Reims. They had the final word, but it's finished. Lyon 7, Stade Reims 1.